Hey everyone, welcome back to the Young and Hungry podcast for another episode. Today we have a very special guest. I'm here with the owner of Engage Fitness Apparel, personal trainer, online coach, fitness enthusiast, Thomas Wall, everybody. So Thomas, thank you for coming on, man. It's good to have you here. I know you're a really busy guy these days. Lots of big things coming up for you. Some things we were just discussing, got me really excited, got me in a really good mood now. So yeah, super excited to have you on, man. What's going on with you today? How are you doing?
Good, man. So I'm really excited to be on the podcast. Me and Morgan have, recently become a bit closer. He was someone who, growing up for myself personally, someone I looked up to in the fitness industry, right? Going around the gym, seeing this fucking big monster guy, right? Everyone's like, who's this guy, right? So I know over the last couple months, I've got to know him a bit more, right? He's been wearing some clothing for me. He likes the crew necks and stuff. And some big announcements soon. He's going to maybe be joining the team a little bit. We're going to kind of announce that later. Yeah, excited here, man. So shoot away and let's get this going.
Yeah, we'll get right into it. So yeah, obviously, like you said, we've gotten a bit closer over the last few months. I've gotten to know you more over the last couple of years, or last year. And we're thinking about like teaming up and helping each other take our brands to another level, right? So
yeah, it's awesome, man.
Everybody stay tuned for that. So basically this podcast, you're my first kind of guest actually, like that's based for the whole
I saw you had one other person. I don't know who.
Well, he's kind of like Dana's like my co-host.
Okay.
We kind of just like shoot the shit, right? But the whole premise of this podcast is to talk to like young like entrepreneurs in the fitness industry, essentially, and athletes and things like that. People basically just trying to make it and just do something different. Yep. And I just kind of want to get like inside your head and kind of find out what kind of makes you tick and what drives you and what kind of keeps you on this path and keeps you trying to be more and more successful with it. Okay. So I want to know, like, who were you in high school? Like, grade 12, like, who were you? Like, what group of people did you fit into? Like, what were your interests? Like, what were you doing?
Okay. Yeah. Like I made a post on this recently, essentially, but like, for me, I kind of grew up. So like growing up as a kid, I was actually like really overweight as a kid, bullied and stuff. I was like in grade 6, I was like 200 plus pounds, like 5'4", like, for that age, right. You're going to be teased. Right. And picked up some sports in junior high. Right. And, surprisingly became like pretty good. Right. I was playing Canada games for basketball and baseball. So I was playing that all through junior high and high school. So for me personally, like junior high and high school was all about like sports, a lot of drinking on the weekends, smoke a lot of weed and stuff, right? But the basic kid, like just an average like high school kid, right?
You were an athlete,
yeah. Just like just that cool group, right? And I just I spoke with this recently openly. For me personally, in grade 12 near the end, I had a couple of big incidents happen for me, and I dealt with some mental health experiences, just some issues, right? And that kind of flipped the switch for me of my path, right? Growing up as that normal like athlete bro kind of guy, it's just near the end, it flipped it all around for me, right?
So did you go to university?
So I did. So what happened was I actually, because of those issues I had, I didn't actually finish high school. I did finish it. They let me through, but I didn't write my exams, or I didn't really go to school for the last few months because I was really dealing with some bad anxiety and depression. So I went to school I did go to school in September though, in university, right? Did my first year of general studies, and it just continued, right? Like I couldn't focus in school. It was getting worse and worse. So then I dropped out, right? So for about 3 or 4 months in, dropped out.
Okay. So you get to that point, you drop out of university. So like, what's next for you? Like, do you work for a bit or like what came first? Like, 'cause I know like the personal training thing was there, the fitness coach.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
Yeah. So what kind of happened was like, when I did decide to drop out, I was working as like a baker at Marie's Bakery. My best friend, they own the Marie's Bakery franchise. Little plug there. But so I was working as a baker for a long time, right? And I was kept doing that. But then like, the choices I was making, I was still drinking lots, right? Partying and stuff. And it just wasn't the right path for me. Now during all this though, I still somehow, and this started from grade 7, right? I somehow managed to always be healthy, like with my nutrition, and like I always kept that going. Like my training nutrition was always great. And like, that was what kept me going. Right. So I knew that like, this was so crucial to me. I got to do something now with this because, you know, it's so important to me. And I got to show people the importance of it. Right.
Well, that's like that's like the one order that you had in your life.
Yeah. Cause it kept me going. Right. Like when I felt, like I said, and everyone, you know, people who deal with, you know, mental health related issues, you know, that hour or two in the gym, it's the best part of the day. If you had a shitty day, you go to the gym, you can take it all out. Right. And I knew for me that, you know, that being the case, I wanted to, you know, do something with that and help people. Right. I knew that had to be the path. Right. And you know, months, you know, it took time, but you know, I did overcome my struggles. You know, it took about 2 years, right? Slowly got better and better. And once I felt like I was in a position where I could go back to university, I did. And I went in for business, and they were doing something called like an entrepreneurship work term. And you actually had to be a commerce student. I didn't even know that, but so when I applied, you know, I gave them my ID and stuff, which, you know, was Engage. And they thought I was a commerce student, all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, we got to the day and they're like, you know, you're not even a commerce student, you know, like we want to accept you, but this idea, because we like what it stands for, you know, mental health, physical health, but we can't accept you because of, you know, you're not a commerce student, right? And you know, I got an email a couple of days later saying like, we actually, you know, we want to create a different program for you because, you know, we liked your idea so much, we see you're passionate about it, right? So they created like a separate, it was like a business internship. They couldn't call it the work term because I wasn't a commerce student, but they, you know, they created this own separate business entrepreneurship internship, we'll say. So that's kind of how that started.
Okay, so was that just like for a semester, or was that like your
so
thing?
that was the first semester. I was, you know, so this is now the summer before that. I was, you know, kind of planning out Engage at that time, right? So say from, you know, June to August, I'm planning out, you know, I want to start this business. But then September really gave me an opportunity because, you know, they gave you $5,000 too, alongside the guidance and the mentorship. So those two things together, right, that kind of fueled it and started it, you know, gave me the opportunity to do it, right? So
did you end up finishing university?
No.
You never.
I have six courses left, which is, everyone's like, and people are on me for this like family, like, but it is what it is. It's just at this very moment, it doesn't.
I'm in the same club as you. I'm almost.
It doesn't like those hours in my day would not, the studying would at this moment take away from my business. It would, the value isn't there. Like the time that would take would set me back to where I want to go right now.
Yeah, I kind of love that because it's like you went to university, like learned what you needed to learn, and like now you're doing your own thing. And it's like you don't have the piece of paper, but like you have the business.
Right. And like I'd be in like entrepreneurship class, and you know, the teacher hadn't owned a business. And I'd be like, why, like what is this? And he'd be saying, then he'd be telling me what to do. And he'd be like, this is, now there was some great people there, but this was one of the teachers. And he'd be saying like, you know, most businesses fail, like this is, and then he'd be like, this is how you grow a business. I'm like, you've never run a business, so how are you telling me? So I knew for me there was something wrong with school, like just this, like, you know, for business especially.
Yes. So this is why you're my first guest, because when I first introduced this podcast, I talked about this exact thing. And I remember myself being in school, even from like very early on, and being like this just is not right. Like for me,
right?
Like just the whole environment, the whole way they were teaching things, what they were teaching, and I just knew, like, in my soul, like I was like, I have no interest in this. Like I know I don't belong here. I'm not going to flourish here. This is not where I personally am going to grow, and I just knew it. Right. So it's like when I became an adult and I could make the decision to really like understand that, and then see other opportunities and be like, okay, like everyone's been telling me I need this, but like now I've really figured out for myself that I don't need this, and I can pretty much just go do this by myself and do what I actually want to do and make money out of my passion. And it sounds like you kind of came to that realization in university, basically.
Yeah. One of the ones for me is like when I was in the entrepreneurship class, I remember I was writing like it was a paper on like the founder of Starbucks, and I was sitting there, right? And then I remember saying like, there was something I wanted to do for Engage that night, whatever. And I said I couldn't do it because I had a deadline for this paper. And I was like, I'm here writing about someone else's success story, and I don't have the time in my life to grow a business that I want. So in my head, I said, there's something wrong here. I said, like, I want to be the one to do that. Like, I want to be the one that people look up to, and I want to inspire people, right? So there's these little things that kept happening in the school where I was like, this isn't me. Like, I got to do something different. And, being like 17 or 18, obviously your parents, family, especially grandparents, definitely didn't agree with that choice for me, right? They said there's a big mistake, go work in a bank, go make the 100K, like, which is, yeah. You mentioned that recently. It's just this number now, but and for me, it just wasn't the right choice, right? And I'm
Well, I think
happy.
like the people around you that love you want you to be safe and secure.
Yeah.
They don't want to see you fail and be a failure and live an
Right.
unfortunate life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But but that's just because that's the way they are, and most people are like that. So most
Right.
people in the family are going to be made up of people like that. So
Yeah.
when you have someone like you or I in the family, they're just not accustomed to it. So like they feel like
Right.
they almost have to like kind of protect you, right?
Yeah.
So
And I was lucky. So my mom, she was a real estate agent. Actually, she lives away. She moved away when I was 17, but she was an agent for a good few years. And so she was an entrepreneur in that sense. And she actually did. I mean, out of everyone at the time, she was the one who did believe in me the most. So like I would be telling her like I'm going to drop out. I'm not going to finish. This is not for me. And she wanted me to do it, but she said, I respect your choice. Like and she could see that I was becoming very passionate about Engage, but it was most people in the family were against it, right? You're making a huge mistake. You need nowadays you need the paper, the number, the letter, and it's but that's the way they were raised, right? There was different generations of that. And you mentioned a couple of days ago, I saw a camera nowadays to make six figures, camera, Instagram, like it's the ways are changing. It's
dude,
not the
it's
same.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
and like we see it now, we understand it, and like you talk about all these avenues that between websites and membership websites and different types of like online coaching, mentorship, even OnlyFans, like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but we hear about OnlyFans that people think like naked girls, but people are utilizing that app in other ways
Right.
to make lots of money, and it's
What
like
kind of stuff they do? What kind of stuff?
well, it's OnlyFans' original purpose, as far as I know, was like for celebrities to get it,
Okay.
and then you could subscribe to it, and then like you could talk to them,
Yep.
or see exclusive content, like and have discussions with them and things
Okay.
like that. But then Instagram, like people like adopted it and started using it to post like nude photos and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it can be used in like a multitude. Like I know fitness people who actually have it and just use it as like a membership site where like they'll put videos.
Yeah. Okay. I have
More, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
things you wouldn't want to be as open about on
well,
Instagram.
not even. They're kind of just like, listen, if you want this
Oh, okay.
information from
Smart.
me, you have to pay for it. Like, if you
Smart.
want to know, if you want my diet tips and my training tips and my
Yeah.
tips,
Smart.
yeah. Well, if you have the following, like
Yep.
and makes sense. You have 1 million followers. If you can
Oh,
get
yeah.
5,000 people to pay $10 a month,
$10. That's yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's crazy.
you're looking at an extra 500 or 500 grand a year. So,
Yeah.
and this is exactly what we're talking about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like how I think it all just is more so about like self monetization and building a brand, and then I mean even yourself, like you have Engage, but you also have like Engage personal training, right? So you're branching,
Yeah.
right? And you're
Yeah.
you're kind of building this big like empire in a sense, right? So
Yeah.
the personal training for you, did that come after it? Like you already started with Engage, or like was that something
Yeah. So
you were doing?
it was just it was just after, right? So in 2017, so when I founded Engage, as that started to progress, like you said, I was like, there's more avenues in this, and I want to have an impact on people. So besides the clothing, what else can I do, right? Because when I actually first started the clothing, the original idea was actually just like let's do, before I started the work term, was actually just let's do this apparel is just going to fund me through university. That was actually the original plan. I said, I'm going to just, sell this apparel instead of working at Marie's. Like that was my goal, right? And obviously as that progressed, I was like, like this is going pretty well, right? I could probably make a run with this. I was like, well, what's another avenue? What's something else I care about? And so personal training. So I got my certificate probably 3 or 4 months after I started Engage. As you know now, I can just go online and a couple of weeks get a certificate, which is pretty easy to do, right? So I got my training certificate, my nutrition certificate. I still do some kin courses online too. So while I was doing the business degree, that's mainly the courses I took for electives, my kin courses, right? So I like to do those here and there too. But yeah, so I started 3 or 4 months after I found Engage for the apparel.
Cool, nice.
Yeah.
So is that something you're really busy with, like, or do you?
Yeah.
How do you balance both of those? Like, that's the question I
Right.
have. Like, how many
Yeah.
clients do you have? Like, how do you
So
manage having two of
I
those?
just yeah. So you get to a point where you have to decide. Not even really. What's more important to you, or what you want to pursue more, because you can't have it all. You can't train, like, I'm sure you train 50 clients, maybe more, whatever. You can't train 50 clients and also try and grow this full time. It's just not possible, right? So what I was doing was, I was working 30 hours in the studio privately training people, doing 15, 20 clients online, and then also trying to grow the apparel on my own full every day. Like, and this is still my schedule. I was getting up 5:30, 6 a.m. and my days would finish at 10 p.m. You've done in-person training. I would literally train people 6 a.m., 7 a.m., come home, work out, work on Engage, go back evenings, come back and sleep at 10 o'clock, repeat, repeat, repeat. And I knew that this was no longer sustainable. I do love the coaching, and I still will always have like a few people at once, but I do want the apparel to be the big thing I grow, right? And I had to make that decision. So now I'm doing 15 hours in the studio, maybe 10, 15 clients online, right? So 15, 20. I mean, it's not low, but it's not like crazy, right? It's a number where I feel I can balance pretty well, right? And
Yeah, and it's important, man, because like I know that person.
I give the attention they need to, as you know, right?
Yeah, and like you can burn out, and like you can work like a workhorse for like short spurts, right?
And but I burnout is that
Oh
I
yeah,
I
it doesn't.
that
People think that you can't, but man, I've had
why are
some
we saying
days
it every day?
and weeks where like by the end of it, you're burning out because you just start not to care, and
Yeah.
like that's literally your brain just being like you need a rest, like you need to rest because like it's something you obviously care about and prioritize, but like once you start to not care about it, that's when you're just like you got to back off somewhere, right? Or else you're gonna just it's gonna start to negatively affect the whole thing.
One of the things for me is, like, I remember walking in, like, when you first start personal training and stuff in the apparel, it didn't feel like work. It really didn't feel like work. I loved it. And it's like, I'm so lucky, man. Like, I don't even feel like I work. And it got to a point where like I was working so much that I was like, this is a job now. Like, this is,
Mhm.
I said, there was these little cues where I was like, there's an issue, something's wrong. I'd be calling my mom every day, like, mom, like, it'd be like 9:30. I'm like, I'm dead, like, I'm burnt out. I'd tell people, I'd be telling friends, I was saying it every day, and I was like, why are you, like, you got to fix something. So now recently, like I just mentioned, so I reduced my client hours, switched all the like hours, so I don't do evenings anymore. Reduce the number for in-person online, and then like we mentioned, so I really need the help of people now to really grow the brand, right? That's my next step. So I kind of, not that I guess I tried to grow it on my own too much. It's more so I didn't have the time to really, sit down, and make a plan, and decide how I want to push
Absolutely,
this forward. But
absolutely.
recently I had the time, right? So
I
once I,
understand. I understand because it's like you get to points in business where it's like you do so much on your own, and then it's like
Mhm.
you need help, and almost
Yeah,
like and getting help is almost like taking a step back sometimes because it's like
yeah,
you kind of need to reinvest. But once you do that a couple times, you understand that every time you reinvest, get some help, take a step back, you launch forward into a whole another category, right?
right.
And then each time you do that, it's like you keep kind of like catapulting your business
Yeah,
forward.
and
And I
and
just know
it's
that, like, for my business, like the small steps that
yeah,
I've made, that's gotten it to the point where it's just like so self-sustainable. Like it's
yeah,
almost, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's kind of hard, especially the first couple of times you do that, right? Because that's like a scary investment to make. Like you're like, hey, I've done pretty good on my own. Like, is this a good idea? Like, do I really need to kind of get help? Like, is this going to set me back? Like, it's kind of
yeah.
hard,
And
you know?
there's little things, like, even like you take, like, like, income wise, like in-person training is not a cheap service, as like, for private, you're making good money, right? Especially if you're doing it privately. So I literally took like a initial like 50% pay cut. I did. I literally threw away $50,000, or not 50% income per month, just like that. Like, and that's when I first did that. I was like, is this the right idea? Like, is this what I want to do? But I was like, I got to do it. I said, I got to take the step. I said, Engage is, the apparel is definitely what I want to grow. It's the thing that, it matters the most to me. So I definitely got to take that little step. And, I did that recently. So it's been like a month or two now. I feel like motivated again. I have like a new energy to me. It's like a freshness. I wake up in the morning now again. I feel motivated, sleeping better. Like everything's just better, right?
Yeah.
I'm managing, and I can also now I can give my clients the limited few a better experience too, right? I feel like I can now deliver a better experience, which feels good too, because I felt like I was burnt out and I felt like I couldn't really be the person I needed to be, right? So
Yeah, it sounds like a good step for you, man. Because like I know on like the coaching and personal training side of things, like your goal as a coach and trainer needs to be like keeping the clients you have.
yeah,
Like that's what's
yeah,
going to keep you successful in that realm, right?
yeah,
But like you said, man, like giving yourself more time to focus on like
yeah,
your major priority is huge
right.
because the brand's not going to grow without you, and it's going to
No,
be more and more of you the bigger it gets,
right.
to the point where you like start hiring staff and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
hopefully is the next step for you. I would
Yeah.
assume.
And like I said, there's just like, there's this new excitement. So the biggest recent thing was I put out the brand ambassador and athlete application. And there's just under 500 applications, which is it's a lot. Like, I was surprised with that many, right?
You say you had
There was,
500?
yeah,
You had
yeah, it was like,
500.
it was
Dude,
400.
that is
Yeah,
insane.
I think it was 492, right? Which is crazy. And there's like, I chose five, but what the plan, and I was only planning to choose five anyways, five, six, or that was only my 5 to 10. It was never going to be more. And when I saw that, that response, I was pretty blown away, right? Um, so what the plan is now. So like I said, there's going to be like, you're going to start with some ambassadors, start with some athletes. You're going to see them be announced now on the page in the next few weeks and stuff. And then, there's a lot of other great people who, did apply. And I actually personally reached out to the top 30 actually this morning and sent them all a little message, just said, it was hard to send a 500, individual
Oh
messages,
yeah.
but I sent out to the top few, and I said, you know what, like I really do appreciate it. You're just under that little point there. And in the next few months, we're going to start to slowly build, because where this is something new, I wanted to start with a select few, see how we do with this, and then build from there, right? Not going to rush into it.
Well, exactly, right. And
Mm.
you find out pretty quick who like, the people who are actually going to benefit your business,
Yeah,
people who stick
right,
with you, who are going to do what they said they're going to do, right?
right. And like I said, so that really, to get the chance, like that's been one of the biggest steps for me in a while. And I feel like that's something, this to me, this is something that should have been done long ago, but I just didn't feel like I had the time. Not that I didn't feel like I had the time. Um, it was just, yeah, like now being able to, the clarity and stuff, these little ideas are coming through, right? Having the free time, being more mentally clear, these little things are starting to happen, and I feel like a lot more confident about the business now. I feel like the next month or two is just, it's going to be a really big couple months, right? I just feel like there's some big things going to happen.
For sure, for sure. So, now that you're really committed yourself to the brand,
Yeah.
well, first, actually, I want to ask, like, why clothing? Like, did you always have an interest in like designing clothing? Do you like just like finding good quality
Mhm.
clothing and putting your brand on it? Like, what's
Yeah.
your like vision for the clothes? Like, where does it come from?
Yeah. So actually, like I'm like probably the most unmaterialistic person like on the planet. Like the only like it's actually like crazy. Like I wear
And me too.
like yeah, like no joke. I wear like pajama pants most of the time at the gym. People think they're sweatpants, they're pajamas. Like some people know that, but they are. I
Nice.
wear, and then besides that, I literally will wear my crew necks and hoodies and Converse. I wear that every day. Like that's just me, right? And I've
Well,
always
every time I
been,
see you, that's what you got on. So you're
yeah,
not.
I've always been that way. I'm not lying. You see, I'm not lying. So I've always actually been like very unmaterialistic. It's just who I am. I like cars. Only thing. That's the only thing that I want. I love nice cars, right? Getting a new car again soon. I do like cars. Um, but besides that, very simple, very unmaterialistic, right? So, like I said, when I first started the apparel, it literally was just something that I wanted to do to get through university. It wasn't going to be any crazy like gym design. It was just going to be some like Gildan hoodies, which is what I started with, right? Everyone starts with like that Gildan hoodie, put your logo on it, and just kind of push through, right? Sell some hoodies and get through university. But over time, I saw that demand for like premium gym wear in Newfoundland and Labrador, because you take like all these big companies, it takes like weeks and weeks to get here, crazy shipping fees, duties, all this stuff. And when I first launched, like the first custom item we did was like a scooped male premium hoodie is what it was, and female cropped hoodies. So they were completely custom made, right? All the dimensions, all the logos and everything, right? And had a really good response, to be able to get that apparel. So say you placed your order on a Friday, you could pick it up on a Sunday. Like that was a big opportunity for me, right? So I saw an opening there, and as I kind of got to that standard, it obviously was never something I wanted to go below, right? So now everything you see now, obviously, so it's all custom made. The logos, the designs, the fits, the hang tags, the bags, everything. Like my goal with it now is quality, right? Very low quantity launches, high quality. It's not pricey, but it's not cheap. I don't want it to be cheap, right? It's in that middle range. That's what I'm going for, right? So, I saw that opportunity, and it's definitely something I want to run with, right? And continue to get better and better. I think these crew necks and hoodies have been like the top tier thing so far. I think that's been the level I'm very happy with. Like when people receive these, it's always usually some great feedback. I know you had one probably 2 months ago, and you said,
I was saying to you before we started, so guys, when I got my first Engage crew neck, it
yeah,
actually took me, like I put it on to throw up a post for Thomas. Like it's just like not a piece of clothing I wear often, like to be honest.
yeah,
I'm generally like a pretty warm person, so like I don't
yeah.
put sweaters on very often.
Oh, and summer now too, right? Obviously.
Yeah, but it was like, like fall came around, I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this as a pump cover, go to the gym. So I had a tank top on under it. And I ended up going in for a back day. And like I just started training in that thing. And like it was so comfortable and kept me so warm and it was so like snug that I just left it
Yeah.
on the whole workout and had a sick lift, like sick pump. So yeah, next time the crew necks drop, or if there's still some available,
Yeah.
I really recommend those for sure.
Yeah. And it's like that has been the kind of feedback I've been getting, right? It really has been lately. So Luke, Ryan, and these are people who they're not going to lie to me, right? Obviously, they'd say to me, "This is shit." You'd say the same thing. If you didn't like it, you're not going to wear it, right? And when I get these, I get a lot of personal messages from people to my personal account, and they're like, "Hey man, like just got this crew neck, just came in the mail. Like it's fantastic. I love it." And to see that, it lets me know I'm at that place where I want to be, right? I don't want to just be another brand that just sticks a logo on something and kind of just I don't want to be that brand.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly. And you put thought into like the actual clothing itself, like the quality of
yeah
it, like where you put the logos, all that stuff, right? So where like do you have a vision for the brand, like for like say 5 years from now?
yeah so I think like the biggest step, like I just said, was to get this ambassador athlete application going, to get the people behind me, right? The message behind the brand, I feel like I'm at the point now. So the apparel has great quality, right? That like we said, we just established that. To get to that point in itself is something obviously that some brands never get to. To have a good quality product, to have a great manufacturer, that in itself I'm very happy with that achievement, right? To get to that point. So now having that in place, having that good manufacturer, now it's the people and getting more exposure. That really is the next thing, right? You have the product in place, a great product. Now I know that because the product is there, once people do see the product, once you get the ambassadors behind it, they will feel confident promoting it. Yourself, like you wouldn't promote if you didn't like Jack Factory, you're not going to promote it. That's you trust the brand, you like the brand. So I'm at the point now where I have the great quality. So it's the people now, right? So and so Newfoundland and Labrador has obviously been the main supporters so far, but that's because that's literally been, I guess, the intent and all I've really focused on. And to see that Sam Gerbig, so she's an athlete, she's in PEI. She's done a lot of great work for me. I've sent some clothing to different people in the other Atlantic provinces, and there's been like these little things that have like kind of created some stir and some exposure to those other provinces, but there hasn't been any like direct effort to move out to those places yet, right? So there's so much left on the table that is like I feel like these next couple months it's gonna be there. I feel like these next few months, right, just gotta keep pushing and pushing. I'm going to Halifax on July 2nd. So we got a photo shoot planned up there, which is pretty cool. Another couple ambassadors you're going to see now. So they're up there. So we got that plan, which is awesome. But yeah, I think so. The main, like, I don't know about a 5 year. I can't say I do have a 5 year plan. That would be a lie. But a year plan it's literally exposure. Get people behind the brand, the message, right? So for me personally, just, like I said, coming from those struggles, I just want to show people, the importance of living a healthy lifestyle and just, get the name out there and the brand. So yeah, the next year or so, it's really going to be the exposure, right? Getting the right people behind the brand and just, getting it known across Canada, especially.
Okay. You mentioned you like cars earlier, so that was kind of like my next thing for you would be just like personal aspirations, like personal like financial goals. But let's just leave it with the cars because, like you said, you're not very materialistic or anything like that. But
Mhm.
what's like if what's gonna when you buy this car, you're gonna know that you made it. So what's the car?
It's tough because like, so yesterday, I don't know if you saw, I put on my story. A
I
lot of
did see
people.
it. I did see it.
So this is, yeah. So I met this guy. So this is a cool story actually. I was literally, so I was getting my haircut for my sister down, near downtown. And I was like, Kate, man, like this guy, like I keep seeing this car around. Like I found out his name and stuff. He actually's from Southern Shore, which my family is from Southern Shore. And I was just rambling about it and stuff. And then I'm driving home. I live in the West End, and of course, what's behind me on the highway? But the car last night. I'm there looking like this is Lamborghini. This is the dude has an Aventador SVJ 900K casual, right? And I see him there, and he ends up living like down the road from me, and I'm there. He thinks I'm following him, right? So I'm really like I'm turned. He calls me over, and he's like, dude, like, do you want to see the car? I'm like, I do. I'm not following you, by the way. Like, I do want to see the car, but I gotta live right here too, right? So when I saw, after speaking to him, we had a nice chat for probably 10-20 minutes, and he told me about what he did and stuff. That last night might have changed my standard. It might have changed my perspective, right? To see that from Newfoundland, he built a brand. It's Blue Driver. It's like a car. I don't know what it is exactly, the ODM, the sensor thing. So
Okay.
it's called Blue Driver. So it's number one on Amazon, right? So that's what his business was. But after speaking to him, man, we had a great chat, and I was telling him about how I like cars and stuff and all that, and he kind of changed my perspective. We have a meeting actually next week, which is cool. He kind of changed my perspective. Like for me, the car I wanted next was some kind of AMG, like some kind of Mercedes AMG, like a CLA 250 AMG. That to me was probably like
That's what I
I
like.
like I like sedans. I'm a sedan person. So I have a WRX now.
I like sedans and big coupes, like big, like luxury
Yeah.
sport coupes. Yeah.
So yeah, I got a WRX. The new another tempting for me. So the new generation STIs are coming out. So the next generation, 2022 in October. So that was something I was looking at. But yeah, so like an AMG is a pretty, for me. I think that I'd be content there. Like I don't, I guess content is also maybe not the word to use because you got to shoot for higher. But if I had an AMG, I'd be very happy with that. But no, after speaking to him last night and kind of hearing his story, just an ordinary guy, I guess why can't I have a Lamborghini? But it's true.
Well,
Cause,
let me tell you something about you, okay? that I know, and this is why I wanted to have you on. I can tell even more so now just from talking to you and your characteristics that you have. Like there's nothing slowing you down. Like
no,
you have this personality where like most people don't know what it's really like to get burnt out because most people don't even want to work that hard. We're to the point
right,
where they can get burnt out, right? You got to have a drive of, never being satisfied and never being able to turn down an opportunity to benefit yourself, like financially or personally, whatever, right?
mhm,
Like when you have that inside of you, you're kind of bound for success. And these are the
right,
people that kind of think outside the box, like yourself, and understand that you have this drive, and like so you instead of just going to get an office job or something like that, you find a passion, and you're like you kind of just know you just have to go with it, right? Like I could tell the whole time you were talking, like it was like Engage was just burning inside of you while you were doing
yeah.
all these other ventures. It was just like talking to you the whole time, right?
And it's funny. It's like I can't get it out of my head. Like I have an Instagram post about this later. Actually, making a post later, but it's like people don't really see what it's like to be an entrepreneur. People do not see it, right? You see cars, you see money, fame, all that. People see that stuff, and they're like, yeah, this person, whatever. They can think what they want of people, right? This person was given this person, whatever. Okay, but real entrepreneurs, like it's not as glamorous as it seems, right? It's this crazy lifestyle. So for me personally, like weekends, I get up to the same time, like but it's like you said, that burning desire, I can't shut it off. It's
Yeah.
like there's times where I try. Like there's times where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not be passionate about this. Like I wish I was like this like normal, not a normal kid, but I wish I was back when drinking with my buddies down. There's times where I try and shut it off. I'll literally do it. It'll be like a day. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go downtown tonight. Not gonna work on Engage. Not gonna get through half the day. No, like it's like it's in me. Dude, like I
Oh,
can't get.
dude.
And for me,
Yeah, I
the
get it.
thing, it's like I'll never, I'll never live it down unless I give it my full effort, right? Regardless of what happens, it's still I'm having fun, right?
So you would say that you're fearful of regret, are you?
That is something that I'm 23, which isn't like it's not old, but it's not
Dude,
young,
no, dude, you're young. You're young.
right? But from my mindset is like I wouldn't want to live knowing like when I'm older, I would never want to think back and say I didn't give it my full effort. I think that to me would be very hard to live with, knowing what I think. I know what I can accomplish. I know I can do it if I keep going. So to not give it that full effort, I think it would always haunt me. I don't think I could ever live it down. Just the personality I have, I could never live it down.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it takes, right? And that,
Mhm.
and that's real passion. Like I can
Mhm.
relate, obviously, from like a bodybuilding standpoint, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like I can't not give it everything I have because
Yeah.
if I don't not try, like I just can't live with myself and just be like, what if?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's the key, man. And I'm really happy you said that because that's the reason I wanted to have you on. And I really hope the people that watch this, and I hope a lot of people watch this and understand that, like you said, being an entrepreneur, it seems glamorous and stuff, and it definitely has its moments. Like building
Yeah.
something, creating
Benefits.
something, and being able to take responsibility for something that's
Right.
successful is great. But that is a massive trade-off to the amount of work that goes into it. And yourself, like I get asked all the time, like, oh, like what days, like, don't you take a day off? Like, can't you take a day off to go do this? And you're just like, yeah, sure, I'll take a day off, and then I'll be 2 days behind on work for the rest of the week, and I don't really want to
Right.
do that. So,
Right.
that's the other thing about this grind. It's that like it's every single day, and like, yeah, you have
Mhm.
some freedoms where you can be like, you know what, like I want to work like tonight instead of this morning, things like
Yeah.
that. But shit still has got to get done, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, dude, for you to say that you're 23 years old and you built what you built, and I mean, you carry yourself like an experienced 30-year-old business owner, like gym owner, personal trainer, like
Thank you.
it's awesome, man.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to see what comes next for you. I'm excited to watch you build your brand. I'm excited to maybe be a part of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, dude. So I just wanted to say we'll close out on that note. But
Okay.
thank you very much for coming on. You spit out some wise words. We got to know a bit more about you and kind of what makes your brain tick. And that was the whole
Yeah.
idea of this podcast. I'm sure we'll have you on again sometime, man,
Yes.
down the road for
As a
sure.
progressive, for sure.
Yeah, because there's some big things coming. So, anyways, everybody, we hope you enjoyed that episode of the Young and Hungry podcast. Thomas was our first official guest. And yeah, that was really good, man. So thanks a lot, and we'll be talking again very soon.
Okay, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, man. See you later.